Hello, and welcome to the next video in a multi-part series on becoming better at taking notes. If you haven't already, please listen to the earlier videos in this series. We will explore scribing in this video. Scribing is arguably the pivot point of the process, since we are committing what we have understood to a note. Most people make the mistake of trying to write notes in their own words during a session. They end up falling behind on the conversation and, as a result, the understanding. So, they end up compensating by skipping sections and hoping to catch up later. As a result, their notes become a bit of a mess, with some sections having a lot of details and others, none. The golden rule to remember in this stage is that, it is okay to transcribe. Of course, it helps to make an effort to write in one's own words, but do not let the effort be overwhelming. If there is the feeling of being pressured, go back to transcribing. We can use these four principles, short, pause, reuse, and structure, to make scribing easier. The principle of short is to form our own unique ways of making the time spent scribing shorter. Some of these techniques are as follows. Use existing abbreviations and short forms, or make up your own. An example is using TXN instead of transaction. Use symbols instead of words. For example, use an arrow to indicate flow instead of writing it out in words. As long as there is clear communication of intent, spelling mistakes or grammatical errors do not matter. Do not feel forced to write between the lines in a page. Use the book or the medium like a whiteboard and feel free to write the information down in any logical format possible. Use phrases or groups of words as idea placeholders, instead of writing full sentences. There are more things that we can do to organize information quickly, if we have the time. Try to box related groups of information together. Try to see if a structure is emerging when scribing. If there are any key ideas, new words and the like, make them prominent by highlighting or underlining or any other means. Feel free to indicate relationships between words using arrows. The principle of pause is to stop the flow of information occasionally. This is true if a pattern or a new insight is emerging. But keep interruptions to a minimum since otherwise this will break the flow of information. This option will depend on the context in which we are scribing. The principle of reuse is to use existing materials. This is a great way to get a leg up on the note-taking process. It helps us by giving a preview of the content beforehand, as well as allowing us to use the content material to make the actual act of scribing more effective and efficient. For example, if we are reading a book in the Kindle app, we can use the highlight option to mark critical sentences and words. Later on, we can export the highlighted notes and build upon those. Alternatively, let us say, we are attending a lecture or a presentation where we have the slides ahead of time, use a printout to write the notes. If we do not have the slides ahead of time, you could ask for the material after the session, and then refine your notes. It helps to go into the session with a structure in mind to capture information. Structured notes make it easier to read and refine your information later. If you have pre-session materials, then the structure can be formed from these materials. If the materials do not exist, try to do some prep work, so that you are mentally prepared to capture the information in a logical form. The structure could be a rudimentary template or a mental model or a basic note-taking one like the Cornell method. But be prepared to change the structure on the fly, if you find that it is not working for the session. That's the end of this video. In our next video, we will find out how to refine our notes. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.